Okay, I'd next like to invite our mayor, Blair Stewart, up to the podium for some opening remarks.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Another month has gone by and here we are. So I look forward to these mornings, not so much for the breakfast, it's good, but mainly because it's fun, all right? We've got leaders from all over the city. We've got BMA, we've got business owners here, all for updates and presentations that we can learn from, which I hope we have a really good one coming up here soon, which we'll segue into soon. But thank you for coming out. It is fun. I always challenge everyone, find another meeting at 7:30 in the morning that you have so much fun. Bring it to me, and if you prove you found one, then we'll make this one even more fun than that. So quick joke before I get into a little story, and then we'll segue into the rest of our program. And this is going to be a really quick joke because I have a 3-minute story I'd like to share. What did the janitor say when he came out of the closet? Supplies. All right. Moving forward. So a few days ago, I was at the Marine Corps recruiter's office here in our beautiful city, and they're right off Brea Boulevard. If any of you are interested in a future, Brian and I have been there before in the military, so good to see you here this morning. Oh! Before I begin, fire guys back there, my firefighters, Brea firefighters are out there. I'm just saying hello. They're going to be introduced later, but thank you for being here, guys. Buy some t-shirts. So, where was I? Oh, recruiter's office. I was at the recruiter's office here a few days ago. We're coordinating our Veterans Day ceremony next month, which still are going to be involved in their dress blues. And I implore you to go next month, November 11th, here at City Hall for our ceremony. It's going to be a beautiful ceremony. We'll have all kinds of speakers and just ceremonies, memorials remembering those that we've lost, and and the veterans that are still here, obviously. So please be there. But moving forward, at the recruiter's office, there was a couple of recruits there, and the staff sergeant there wanted to introduce me, so I was introduced, and these two young boys, I shouldn't say young boys, they're men, right? They're making a decision to protect our country and our Constitution. So these young men, these courageous young men stepping into this office, one of them asked me a question. He said, what was the point that you realized you wanted to join the military? And then he corrected himself. Well, not the Marines. I'm like, let's still the military. So the Marines. And I've told this story a couple of times, not necessarily in front of an audience, but the story has not necessarily changed, but my thoughts and beliefs as I matured has changed. And I'll get into it as I tell the story. So back when I graduated high school here up on the hill at Brea High School, I won't tell you the year, but it was a long time ago. 2 weeks after graduating high school, I didn't have a place to live. My brothers and I had to figure it out. My mother, who rented a house in South Brea here, could not afford that house on her $17,000, $18,000 salary. So we had to spread our wings very quickly after high school. So within 2-3 weeks, we were renting an apartment at Raintree Apartments off Tamarack Avenue. Some of you are probably familiar, maybe past residents at the time, but it's here in Brea. And I was playing basketball at Fullerton Junior College and was a student. At that time, it was the summertime, so I was playing summer ball, getting ready for the fall semester. Fall semester had arrived, and about a month into the fall semester, I dropped out of school. Didn't have much direction, had no one telling me where to go, where to be, what to do. Never had a plan growing up. That just was my house. You figured things out on your own. So after dropping out, I was no longer on the basketball team. I had a broken down 1976 Buick LeSabre that was not operational, so I was huffing it all over this city, wherever I needed to go. I had a part-time job at Alpha Beta off of Central and Pointe Avenue. I think a dollar store is there now, right? Yeah. So, and I would walk to work in my black slacks, my white collar shirt, and my brown Alpha Beta apron. This particular day, I'd walk to work, and I'm bagging groceries, and a man came up to me with his groceries on the counter, and I, of course, said paper or plastic. He looked at me up and down, sideways, a lot of disapproval, some disdain, and I'm just here, I'm just bagging groceries, like, just tell me what you need. Repeated the question, still did not answer me. Looked me up and down again, sideways, and then stated, so, this is what happens to superstar athletes from Brea into high school. And he shook his head from left to right, like disgusted, right? And of course, I'm 18 years old, going, who the heck is this guy? You know, the 65-year-old ancient guy, right? Now I'm coming close to that, so it's not that. It's just a young age. It's a young age. You know?
Yeah, I say watch it.
Yeah. Well, that it irked me. It unsettled me because I had no rebuttal. You know, I dropped out of school. I'm not playing basketball. I'm working part-time at Alpha Beta. At least I had a job. I'm walking around the city because I can't afford to fix this 30-year-old car with 20-something-year-old car. And after that shift, I walked to the Marine Corps office. And not this Marine Corps office, which I wish we had at the time. This Marine Corps office used to be off Harbor Boulevard and Brea Boulevard. So I walked from Puente all the way about 5-6 miles and sat down with a recruiter, a Marine Corps recruiter, and said, I want to be a Marine. Had no idea, and I'll be honest, I had no idea why I wanted to be a Marine. I heard the stories, hey, they're the toughest, the baddest, the first in, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, why not? You know, it'll be a challenge. And I said, I want to leave tomorrow or next week, whenever you can get me. And the recruiter said, yeah, maybe 4 months from now. Yeah, and really? Like, I need to leave now because I was after that encounter with this, I'll say gentleman, I realized I needed to move. I needed to do something else before I get stuck here. And a year goes by, 3 years goes by, then it's 10 years, and it's harder for me to take this apron off and do something else. That's why I felt a sense of urgency to get to a recruiter's office. I know it's not something most people, it was my dream to be a Marine in the military. It was not. It was merely out of self-interest at that point to get me out of my circumstance. But when I got into the Marine Corps, let me back up 1 second here, a couple minutes. When he told me I could not go, and it'll be about 4 months, I was devastated, but you know what? That's what happens. Went home, told my girlfriend, who's the mother of my 2 children, that I'm leaving, signed up for the Marine Corps. Of course, she was upset. We didn't live together. Why didn't you talk to me? All that kind of stuff. Anyways, regardless, fast forward a week, I get a call from the recruiter. Would you like to leave tomorrow? And I said, absolutely. I'll be there at 4 a.m. sharp to pick you up, to take you to MEPS in LA, and you'll jump on the train to go to San Diego. Called my girlfriend, said I'm leaving tomorrow. Told my brothers who I lived with, I'm leaving. Of course, they didn't throw me a party. That was weird. I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning, quietly got dressed, made my way out to the living room. There's a light knock at the door, and as I'm walking to that front door, I look to my right and I see 2 lumps on the floor of my apartment, 2 human lumps. And first thought was my brothers had some people over and they just slept on the floor. And then I realized it was my parents, and they had no place to live. I left 33% of the rent that I was responsible for on that counter. Said to myself, thank you, Lord. Thank you for getting me out of here. And joined the Marine Corps. When I got into the Marine Corps, for self-interest reasons, it opened my eyes that I was doing something bigger than something that I thought was just for self-interest. I was protecting the country, protecting Americans, protecting our Constitution. And the Marine Corps gave me a drive to not only want more in life, but to do more in life for others. So, which led me to the fire service. The fire service led me to where I stand today. It was a hard road, but I've got a couple gentlemen that are here that Lacey will introduce, and if they were around when I was struggling, I would have utilized them absolutely. So now we're here today, and we'll be talking about that a little later. So thank you.
Okay, I'm going to introduce our speaker now. I'm excited to introduce Joe Rasic, who's the owner of SoCal Restaurant Consulting, where he supports restaurants in overcoming operational challenges. His expertise focuses on improving food and beverage costs, streamlining labor and training systems, and implementing technology solutions to help restaurants thrive in a rapidly changing industry. As the former owner of Craftsman Pizza in Placentia, Joe placed community at the heart of his business. Through restaurant fundraiser nights and his catering trailer, he helped dozens of local groups raise millions of dollars. His fundraising philosophy is simple. Yes, how can I help? And I'll just interject here that Joe also sits on the Brea Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors. He's a consultant for our Small Business Academy and always ready and here to help, and we appreciate that. After selling Craftsman Pizza, Joe sought another opportunity to give back and joined Matt and Britannia YRT, thank you for the help, on the Suited Soldier Board. In his role, he acts as a consultant, ensuring compliance and managing expenses. A proud graduate of Loyola High School in Los Angeles, Joe continues to live by the school's motto, Men for Others, a principle that shines through his dedication to supporting veteran students in achieving their goals. Will you help me welcome Joe Rasic?
All right, good morning.
Good morning.
I gotta say, I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed at the moment. The honor to stand in front of all of you and to stand with those of you in front of us who serve this country and to hear your stories, it's a little bit emotional, to tell you the truth. And to be a part of what we're doing with Suited Soldier, I think, really supports all of that and the things that we think about. As Lacey mentioned, I did go to Loyola High, where we did talk about Men for Others, and I also went to another school where we talked about, the motto was actions, not words. And I think oftentimes we hear, and you probably hear, thank you for your service, but what more do we do? And that's what Suited Soldier is about, is just taking those words and putting them into action and trying to help those in need, trying to stay ahead of the curve for those who are graduating, who have served in the military, and now who are pursuing their education, trying to get them to the next level. That's what we're working on. So before I get into our presentation, part of our board members here, Blair introduced himself. He joined the board earlier this year. I joined Matt Britannia. Matt Britannia had started the nonprofit 3 or 4 years ago and didn't quite get it going. And then I talked to him one day and I said, hey, let's move it. I had just sold the restaurant. I'm like, let's take this thing to the next level. So kind of got some plans into action, and we had a first fundraiser, and we raised up for about $4,000 on our first event. And then we got Blair on board, and then James, who I want to talk a little bit about. So James Brandt is also a graduate of Cal State Fullerton. He and also a Marine. And also went through the school and was assisted with the Veterans Resource Center at Cal State Fullerton. James has been instrumental in helping our involvement with the VRC, not knowing what is going on at the campus there. James really has helped us understand how to best help the veteran students there. He is currently working with the LA Department of Mental Health and was formerly a congressional aide and a military liaison to the House of Representatives in DC. James has been recognized recently by the university and also has presented recently to the Cal State Foundation Board. So James, thank you for joining our board and for all you've done. James also has a recent announcement you've got going on.
Having a baby boy.
So a lot going on in his world and helping us as well. So thanks to both of you gentlemen, and it's an honor to work with you guys, and thanks for helping us out.
Thank you, Joe.
My pleasure. Okay, so the Suited Soldier, how did this come about? So as we mentioned, Matt Britannia, they own a suit shop called Savage Suiting in Placentia. I got to know them because my restaurant right across the street, they'd come over and have drinks. Yeah, we'd buy a suit from them, and we'd play golf and hang out and just talk. So Matt had a situation where they had a veteran student walk into the shop there, and he was asked to purchase a suit for a wedding that he was in. And he asked, hey, can I make some payments on this? I'm in school, I'm struggling a little bit. And Matt got to know this individual quite well and got to know his story. And that really touched a nerve with Matt. And Matt said, you know what? There's a cause here. There's something that we can get behind and support. So Matt did some homework. He actually met with James, and the Suited Soldier was created. So the focus is to help our veterans, helping them to success beyond their service, and to help them get into the next chapter of their lives. So there's a lot of great veteran causes out there, but really our goal is to stay ahead of the curve. We hear about the homeless vets, we hear about the suicidal vets, we hear about all these tragic stories out there after the fact. Our goal is to stay in front of it. And so with these veterans going through the school, we want to try and work with them to get their degrees, and hopefully with degrees, they stay ahead of that. So the Veterans Resource Center it supports active duty service members, veterans and their families to achieve higher education, to reach their academic and personal goals. There are federal and state funded programs there. Most of the ladies and gentlemen that go through here are on the GI Bill. And so that's what we're working to work through the school and through the education with the GI Bill. Through there. So the veterans, they're on campus, they're active students, they're in several things. So our goal is to work with them through their education. They're a part of our service community, and certainly they're a part of our community as well. These are our neighbors. These are our future, people that are going to be working with us. And so we're doing, again, our best to set them up for success. Okay. So what we talk about is covering the gap. The GI Bill allows in Orange County about $3,600 a month for the students. Their tuition money goes straight to the university, and then they get money for housing and for allowances, about $3,600 a month. That program, the GI Bill, is straight up. It's 4 years, and it's, as they say in the VRC, it's busting the seat. So if you're not on campus, if you're not in class, you're not getting your tuition, you can work through it, but you won't get your tuition paid unless you're in class. Okay? And then you get your money for your tuition. And I've asked James and to jump in anytime, so if I miss anything, let me know if I missed anything, all right? Then through the summer months, there's no money. You're not in class, you're not getting paid, and that's where the gap gets created. Okay? So that's where we want to come in and, as best we can, close that gap. As you can imagine, there's 500 students on campus. There's no way we're going to close that gap right now. Being that we've only been really working on the nonprofit for about a year, we've got time to build it. So we'll continue to work on it. But we are committed to supporting the guys and gals as best we can. Kind of go from there. All right. So here's a little bit of a breakdown of the costs for the students. So they've got their tuition for the fall and the spring terms, as well as summer, roughly about $38,000 a year. And then you can see what the actual expenses. They're an estimate, but we've kind of put together what the numbers look like for them. So they've got their housing, utilities. Coming to see that, if you look at the next slide, we're looking at about a $15,000 a year variance and gap for the veteran students coming through the university. Now, what happens is some of these students start off at the junior college level. They transfer into Cal State Fullerton, and they expend a lot of that money coming in. Now, I don't know about you. I went to college. I didn't finish in 4 years. I don't know how many guys did finish in 4 years, but a lot of the veteran students don't finish in 4 years. And so therefore, guess what? The money runs out. And that's where we lose them. We have a retention, the university has a retention rate of 68%, which is not bad. That means that 32% of the veterans are falling out between their junior and their senior year. That equates to 100 students a year, roughly. So 100 guys and gals a year with military experience, with 3 years of college experience, are pulling out. What happens to them? We don't know. because they're out. Maybe they have a skill set. Hopefully they have a skill set. Hopefully they're out there, finding a job and being able to support themselves and support their families. But statistics will show that with a college degree, there's a higher earning, there's a higher potential for success. You serve in the military and you don't finish that education. How do you feel? How do they feel? And so we don't want them to have to experience that. We want them to get their degree. And so that's where we're focused on. Okay. So what do? We are offering most importantly scholarships. I'm proud to say that this year we so far have awarded, and we're new. We awarded 4 $2,500 scholarships this year, and we have a little bit of a clip that we'll show here at the end of a couple of guys that we were giving the money to. And then we've awarded about a dozen suits. The suit's kind of the second. It's kind of our catch, if you will, because a lot of groups don't do. So why the suited soldier? Well, as one of the guys will allude to, it's a thing of pride. They go from their uniform in the military to a business suit, which is in a sense a different kind of uniform, and that there's a sense of pride in there. And you can see when they put their suits on and when they go out, they feel good. And again, one of our videos will show to that to them. The grants, there's some gentlemen and ladies and gentlemen that run into hardships. We haven't gotten to deliver that money yet, but a car breaks down, something happens where it might cause them to drop out of school, not because of academics, but because something came up where there was a problem. We've talked to the VRC about that, and they said, hey, can we set aside some money for students who might run into that? Sure. If we have the money, we'll love to give it. So we're continuing to work on that, but it doesn't have to be an academically based award for us to help the students at the campus. Again, the goal is get your degree. And then lastly is the business suits. That's the small part of it. If we can send them out looking sharp for success, great, love to have you. But really it's about getting them through school so they can get that business suit and go out and get that job. That's the cherry on top, so to speak. Okay? So that's it. I mean, I'd like to say that there's much more to it, but it's really simple. These are ladies and gentlemen that have served our country, that are in our backyards, they're going to be a part of our community, and we want to support them. We would love to take this, and our goal is to bring a 90% graduation rate to the university. That's our goal. And if we can hit that, we'll keep. I mean, that means we're putting an extra 50 college degrees a year through the university. That's a lot. And then what do those 50 degrees do? And ultimately, much like I've had the opportunity to give back and be a mentor for others, we know that those ladies and gentlemen will do the same thing. They're doing it right now. And so we hope to help them accomplish that as well. Okay. We have a little bit of video here, thanks to J Squared. Jonathan, nice job. Thanks for cleaning this up for us. This will give us a little bit more of our story for you. Some audio.
We own a men's clothing store in Placentia, California, and we would have a number of veterans that would come in, tell us their stories. Would have to be in their friend's wedding party to get a suit for, and they were unable to afford the suit that we were asking them to pay for, or rather their friends were asking them to pay for. And through the course of conversation, we found that those things were happening because of a lack of funds for our military veterans, most of which who were freshly off deployment, now figuring out what life looks like in the civilian world.
Hello, my name is Juan Vargas. I am a Marine Corps veteran. I did 8 years in the Marine Corps. After leaving the military, I was kind of lost. It was 8 years of my life. Transitioning into the civilian sector was kind of rough. It was just trying to find my new identity because the Marine Corps was a big part of my identity for those 8 years.
My name is Jordan Dant. I was in the United States Navy. I signed up, I was 19 years old. Unfortunately, my military service was cut short due to a cardiac condition that wasn't pre-existing, and I was med-boarded out of the service. It was definitely a challenge for me in the years following. I had this big plan. I had originally planned to go into law enforcement after I got out. Obviously with a cardiac condition, there's really not a lot you can do there.
Coming here to get in a suit is very impactful because a suit kind of opens up the doors, look at professional stuff like that. To go to job interviews kind of like helps map a pathway of like being in this professional world.
You put the suit on, and it's like putting on a uniform, and you stand up a little taller, you walk a little straighter, and you feel like you can do just a little bit more when you get out there.
And I think the suited soldier, what they're doing is it's very beneficial because guys that do come like myself come out of the military with maybe nothing.
So Matt and his wife Britt, very, very welcoming. Like you come in here and Matt's got a great big smile on his face and a great sense of humor, and they really kind of make you feel welcome when you come in here.
So here at the Suited Soldier, our goal and our mission is to make life a little easier for our veterans that have served so many years of their life in dedication to this country and our Constitution. With that said, we are there to help them obtain their goals, earn their degree, and get them into a job market, a good career, transitioning into civilian life as easy as we could possibly make it. The Suited Soldier will fill that gap for them.
So again, thanks, Dave. So, as I stated, we're new at this, and we're excited about the steps we've made so far. How can you help? Obviously, we have events that we're going to be putting together in the near future. The community's been great about helping us out in various forms. You'd like to share some thoughts?
Oh, but you can
You got it. We will be, and then what really we had to do is why I'm on board for the most part is to also help write grants. So now that we have our collateral with the J Squared and some other stuff behind us, now we can really go out there and chase the big money. The fundraisers they're a lot of work, as you guys can all imagine, when you're trying to raise money and put baskets together and do different things. But now we're going to really go after the grant money. And then hopefully we can come back in a year or so or less and come back and share some thoughts with you and some more success stories. And hopefully we can put another 10 or 15 scholarships into the pockets of the guys on campus and make more of a difference and fill that gap. So thank you. I guess Blair wants to share a little
I have
bit.
a question.
Yeah.
Should I wait?
No.
What about trade school and entrepreneurism? Any avenues to pursue that? And I think we might be able to partner through the chamber with entrepreneur opportunities.
Yeah, we're open to several discussions. We're not just saying it's going to be just Cal State Fullerton. That's where our focus is right now, because we can reach those students there. But we are open to that. We've actually that's not the first time someone's asked us that.
Okay.
So we are very open to that. We want to help vets whether it's because a lot of people are going to the trade schools now. They're saying that the college education is not necessarily all that because the trades are needed and definitely needed. So we are open. I mean, if we see a need and we see a student who's that is just on that cusp there, and that we can help them get over the hump there. It might be a different kind of suit that we're going to put on though. You have to have some nice crisp white shirts there. But Matt could probably work that out.
You still need a suit for an interview.
Yeah, exactly. But we are open. Again, our goal is to help the vets and help them accomplish their education. Get their education.
Have you looked into Fullerton College and Cypress College because they have very good veteran support system already? And
correct.
Students can get CT certificates, so they don't have to go to school for 4 years. They can come out after 2 years with a certificate like related to construction or HVAC or plumbing or something that will allow them a living wage, and they don't have to wait for another 2 years to graduate. When you're telling me that people are dropping out during junior and senior year, focusing on those programs might be more profitable and more realistic.
Yeah, we are aware that there is a Veterans Resource Center at Fullerton College.
Yeah.
We have not reached out to them yet.
I have some connections.
Yeah, okay, they're on our radar. And again, as we continue to expand our business and our scope of what we're trying to accomplish, we want to wrap our arms around all of it. But Cal State Fullerton was where our first focus was, and knowing that those ladies and gentlemen were closer to their degrees, which is what the ultimate goal is. Yes.
If any veterans come to you guys looking for employment within Service Champions, we do offer a paid training program.
Awesome.
It's 14 weeks long, but unlike other establishments that want someone experienced 10, 5, whatever, 15 years experience, we'd rather have someone with no experience in the trade, and we'll train them so that way they know the trade, but we'll give them the opportunity to work here.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Wow.
One thing I was thinking about as I was putting this together last night, and I put it on the agenda for our meeting tomorrow, is that I would like to put together a recruiting fair that is for the VRC and for the veterans only. And that we reach out to our business partners that say, hey, we're going to be bringing in students from Cal State Fullerton or Long Beach or wherever that the veterans are at that are close to graduating, they're looking, and that they're coming in, and it's a veteran-only career fair. So my partners don't know about that yet. They're hearing it for the first time. I'm sure they won't object. But yeah, we thought about the career placement part of the nonprofit, but that's a whole nother ballgame. So the first is to get the degrees, and then if we can work on the career placement side of it, we just don't want to make promises we can't keep. So we know that the job placement is very difficult. We don't want to necessarily get into the recruiting, but if we can have a job fair where we can have some people that say, we're bringing in vets only, then I think that's what we can contribute to the cause. Of course, yeah.
Something that developed recently, which is going to help us support a lot more veterans. We've been approached by Working Wardrobes, I think a lot of you have heard. So it looks like we are in the midst of possibly partnering with them, and that's going to accelerate and mature our nonprofit considerably, and we'll learn a lot from them as well. Again, there's 4 of us doing this, and we all are very busy, but it is a need that's out there, and it's a gap that we want to fill. And I know as a Marine, as some of our military veterans here, we've experienced, I mean, we're not rolling in dough here, right? If we're joining the military, we're probably not coming from a family that is well-off, billionaires or millionaires, right? So we struggled, we struggled when we got out of the Marine Corps. When I went to Cal State Fullerton, I was that student, that veteran that was struggling. I was working a night job, graveyard shift at a warehouse, Marie calendars as well, as I went through Cal State Fullerton after my active duty. I wish the Suited Soldier was there. I wish there was, I'm sure there was organizations out there, but back in the 90s, it's not as easy to access these things as we can today with all our technology. But I was one of those veterans that struggled, and I certainly would have loved to have an organization like the Suited Soldier, as small as we are, just looking out for us and doing what we can to support our veterans that have gone through so much hardship. Not only in the military, it's a very difficult life, especially if you have a family. I got out of the Marine Corps as a sergeant making $700 after taxes a month. And that doesn't go a long ways, when you're trying to finish your degree, trying to put a roof over your head, trying to make sure you have medical, dental, and car insurance, simple things like that. So anyways, yeah, go ahead.
Besides being the proud mama of Britannia, they both have worked very hard at Savage Suiting for sure, and I'm very proud of them for that. However, to take it to the next level and giving back to their community, it's just, I have no idea. It's amazing. And I have to say, they work hard, but you two have been so helpful to them. And I want to publicly say thank you for your support to my children.
Thank you. That was worth getting up this morning. Thank you, Dave.
Yeah. So, are there any other questions for us? Okay. Well, hopefully we'll let the chamber know when we have our next event. Hopefully that you guys can come and join us, meet some of the ladies and gentlemen. We do put suits on. We'd love to have them come out and look sharp for us all. And we thank you for sharing your time with us this morning.
Thank you.